TNT Unfiltered 1. Now your hosts, Tyler Freed and Tim Lombardo.
Know who I am. Never any questions about that. So today, like the last couple of weeks, we're answering your questions people have either sent in or that we get all the time. So you might have heard these questions before. We might give an answer that's maybe similar to what you've heard, or maybe you learned something new and different that maybe impacts the question and maybe makes you think a little bit different about real estate. So without further ado, we're answering an unrehearsed, unscripted question. Here we go. What do buyers have? What does that say? I can't even read that. It says what's on it?
What outs do buyers have during the transaction?
I'm not familiar with that term, outs. I mean,
no,
I never struck out in baseball.
I don't believe that one bit. But I think this all goes back to I need to improve my handwriting. Yeah. So, hey, we've got good information for you, but our handwriting's not that good. So question is, what outs do buyers have during the transaction?
That's my question to you, because like I don't get people into contract.
Yeah.
You know, I close when they want me to typically. So what do you typically use as your tool? Like, hey, because maybe I want out because I bought it and now I'm having second thoughts for all kinds of reasons.
Right. And I mean, the most important takeaway from this is if you feel like this might happen during the transaction, maybe you need to wait a little while longer. Mm-hmm. But let's say that's not the case and you got into the home. Mm-hmm. Remember, you have your inspection contingencies. Sometimes those are 3 days, 5 days, 10 days. So that can be an out for any reason. Anything you find, you can back out.
So I could do an inspection. It could go perfect, and you just say, "Yeah, I'm just rejecting."
Yeah, and that is a listing agent and a seller's nightmare, but that's an out.
Yep.
You also have the financing out,
mm-hmm.
which is if for some reason, say you or your spouse lose a job,
yep.
can't qualify for the house,
mm-hmm.
you're going to get a loan denial letter from the lender,
yep.
and then send that over. So your offer is subject to your ability to obtain financing.
Yep.
Also,
Can I stop on
that?
Go
ahead.
We get this one a lot where people say, "Hey, I already passed my financing contingency, so I'm locked in that way."
Yeah.
And sometimes my only out's the financing.
Correct.
And then they come to us and it's like, "Well, I need you to write me a letter saying I don't qualify." Well, I wrote you a letter just 2 weeks ago saying you qualified, and I called the agent on your behalf saying, "Hey, I can close this loan on time. Everybody's happy." And then things change,
right?
And so suddenly they try to put us in the situation sometimes where, "Can you say I don't qualify?" And that's obviously a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, you have these in place, but in that instance, that's someone just basically changing their mind at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
So the contract isn't written for that.
Mm-hmm.
The contract's written to make sure, your home appraises,
mm-hmm.
you have a satisfactory home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that, is important to pay attention to is there's usually a 10-day homeowners association review time frame. Mm-hmm. That could be something, maybe you're at the home inspection and there's a dog breeder next door and there's 15 chihuahuas barking their head off.
Yeah, I'm out on that.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with that on a Sunday morning when I'm trying to watch the Hawks.
Yeah.
And then also another thing is the resale certificate. Once that's received, you have 3 to 5 days to review that. That's going to be on a condo. So a lot of these contracts are written by attorneys to be very buyer friendly. Mm-hmm. But our biggest takeaway on this podcast and to our clients is if you're not ready or you think something might come awry, don't proceed with the offer.
Yeah.
Because there's live human beings on the other end of this that are making life decisions based on you moving forward and that letter that you wrote. And
I think that's one big thing that it's easy to get lost.
Right.
We are dealing with people's lives and livelihood.
Correct.
Right. It's like, I'm going to pack up all my stuff in a moving truck, be ready to drive away, thinking I'm going to fund, and then it doesn't fund. It's like my whole life just took a major turn.
And for those sellers, they really get one shot to be their first time on the market. Sometimes when inspections are going to fail, and we talked about one in the previous episode, there'll be 30 to 40 things, but maybe 10 of those are really, really expensive. And it's, $50,000 to $100,000 and you just can't come together on that. Mm-hmm. So it's going to happen. But then when they go back on the market, they're going to kind of have that stigmatism of, hey, there was a failed inspection.
Hey, what happened?
Yeah.
Hey, what happened?
Yeah. Why did that person back out?
Yeah.
Right. Because as buyers and real estate brokers, we want all the information to pass that along to make good decisions. So everyone's happy in the end.
Yeah. Kind of like when your kid comes home late, now they're under the microscope for a while.
Right.
Yeah. So my kids have never done that. They're pretty good.
My kids are 10 and 7, but I can see Carter doing
They're
it.
They're going to show up late.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.
You've been listening to TNT Unfiltered, We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you've gotten something from it. Make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe.